That's the wrong. Well, this is Frostland Survivor Man, Frostman and Joey coming at you, and you'll notice we're wearing different shirts. On Veterans Day, I did a tribute by myself to veterans, but it's important that we do one together, and the reason it's important is because none of this would have happened without Joey. The whole channel would not have happened without him. I never would have done it. It never would have interested me to be a part of it. So Joey and I decided that we really need to do one together where we saluted the service members.
Exactly. Now, I was never a service member, but I respect everything that they do and all the 4 branches. So we want to rep all 4 of them, kind of give them all their due. Even though you were an Army guy.
Yes.
The other 3 are still.
The other ones are just as viable, and I worked with all of them, and that's why you're wearing my. I worked with some Marines both stateside and overseas, and sometime at a time when I was working with them overseas, they actually made me an honorary Marine. The group that I worked with, which is just a bunch of guys shaking hands and saying, "Hey, we all work together really well." That's kind of what it is. It's not like I'm a Marine or anything, but I did enjoy thoroughly working with them. And there's one guy that was really special to me, and that was Bennett. And I doubt he'll ever see this video. But if you ever do, Bennett, I think about you all the time. I really do. So, and you know, we have our Veterans Day stuff that happens on Veterans Day, right?
Correct. Yep.
But you know, I think there's only, well, there is more than one, but there's one significant entity. When we were talking about this before,
correct,
that really gets it right.
More so than the others, and that it would be the Professional Football League, NFL.
Yeah.
They celebrate Salute to Service Month for a whole month, all November. Every game, every coach, every player, they'll show their thanks for what the service members do for us.
Any given Sunday, you can watch those games and you can see the salute to service on the field and the apparel on both sidelines. You know, they're all wearing it. So
super cool apparel too. I mean, it really is snazzy. They've got it looking good.
They do. They really put some time and effort into it. And I know that I, as a veteran, and a lot of my friends really appreciate that part of it too. So that's really cool. I worked with a lot of Marines. The only branch of the service that I really didn't work with was the Coast Guard. That was on the civilian side that I worked with them, but not during the military service part of it that I worked with them. So I also shout out to our good friend Julie, our coworker Julie, who was Navy. She and her husband met in the Navy, I believe. They're both Navy, and I've worked with a lot of sailors. Worked with a lot of sailors especially in language school. There were a lot of sailors in language school. Mainly because they go to a lot of different countries.
Right, you got to be able to talk to the different ports.
And what is the percentage water that the planet is? It's something like 75%. 75% water. So you know the water's going to have to be patrolled, and that's what our U.S. Navy does.
Correct.
And the last one, of course, is the Air Force, and we had a number of Air Force personnel that I worked with overseas. And mostly they were there to help us with tech. A lot of technology stuff is handled by the Air Force. And we had a couple of senior master sergeants that rode with us on a mission. And things didn't go according to plan, let's say it that way. But those guys were fully engaged in what was happening. Senior master sergeants that were fully engaged. Our good friend Randy told me that I needed to expound on some of this, and I really love Randy. It's enjoyable to talk to him. He's a wealth of knowledge. And he said, you know, it's really interesting to me that you served in the U.S. Army, but you were not a citizen of the U.S. And I wasn't. I was a green card holding what is called a resident alien when I enlisted. And at the time, the Afghan war was just starting to amp up. So they needed people. And you could be a foreign national and serve up to 10 years at the time. You also could be as old as 42 and still enlist, which seems like a significant number, but you know, I had already been in for quite a while by the time I was 42, and I could handle it pretty well at 42. So, you know, I couldn't handle it now. I've been too beat up, but I served, and that's how I ended up becoming a U.S. citizen. Randy said that that's a very interesting fact of
who you are and how you got here.
And it changed me forever. Yeah. And nobody can go into military service and not have it change them forever. So
correct. So we want to encourage you to not just celebrate it on the 11th. Say thank you to all the service members in your family. You know, do it often.
in this day and age of movies with everything, there's all these things with aliens and the movie Battleship.
Okay.
I think it was like 2007, 2008, somewhere around there. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen one scene in that movie repeatedly. And what happens is that there's aliens that are taking over Earth. Like that never happens in the movies. And
Original script.
and they end up with these current Navy service members needing to go and borrow the USS Missouri, which is permanently on liberty as a museum, right? So what happens is they go on board the ship, and there's only 5 that are, 5, doesn't matter. However many of them there are, they can't run this ship on their own. And then the chief does a really good job of explaining why they can't run it on their own. So it's a really great scene. Well, on the ship are all the tour guides who are Navy veterans, who are actual Navy veterans, right? And so the Captain Hopper ends up asking them if they will serve. We have no right to ask you to serve anymore, blah, 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 but I'm asking. And the Navy chief veteran says to him, "What do you need, son?" And he says, "We need to borrow your boat." And they all jump into their previous roles. All of these veterans fire up the ship, fire up the systems, get everything running. And it's all outdated stuff that these active duty service members can't do.
Correct.
So there's 2 really important facets about it. One, the new chief grabs this vending machine that has these replica ships in it, and he throws it over and it breaks. And then they go through that door that it's sitting directly in front of. And the significance of that is we're recommissioning this ship. It's not a museum anymore. That stuff is garbage. Now it's a battleship, right? My service time is past, yes, but I passed the torch. And for every veteran, I'm sure they all think this way. And if they don't, you can write it in the comments. I don't think that way, but somehow I doubt it. Every veteran may have passed the torch, but that doesn't mean they don't carry a lighter. But that scene is worth the price of admission. Just to watch that. It gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. Yeah. So, Joe, I know you're a proud patriot, and I'm so happy you encouraged us to do this video, because without Joe, we wouldn't have done it. So that's our salute.
If you see this video, thank a vet.